Thank you so much, Johannes, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen from Berlin. Thank you, first of all, for inviting me to this year's Code Conference again, I would say. And congratulations for choosing supply chain sovereignty as today's topic. And yes, I would agree, it is high time, as it is the subtitle, it's high time for a wake-up call for building up supply chain resilience. State Secretary Zimmer has already set the tone with his inject earlier today. And now I will give you the perspectives of the Bundeswehr's Chief Information Officer on supply chain resilience. With regard to expectation management, a short disclaimer at the beginning. Unfortunately, I'm not in the position to provide you with the philosopher's stone that might give you the solutions to the strategic challenges stemming from supply chain sovereignty in cyberspace. However, both the overarching topic of trustworthy IT and a special emphasis on supply chain safety and resilience are amongst the top subjects on our agenda. And to illustrate this priority, both topics are part of an in-depth analysis and dialogue between my experts and experts from industry association in the context of the Ministries of Defense strategic dialogue with industry. Just recently, some 3 weeks ago, we have published a new paper dealing with safe and secure supply chains for our specific IT hardware and software requirements in defense. And a first paper issued in 2019 dealt with trustworthy IT as such. With this strategic dialogue with industry, we also want to raise awareness among political decision makers and the public that secure and reliable supply chains are indispensable key capabilities for the Bundeswehr, but not only for us. These key capabilities are just as significant as the pursuit of national key technologies. However, we are certainly still in the early stages of these needed discussions, and conferences like Code are important for continuing this dialogue. As all areas of life and work become increasingly interconnected, we are becoming more and more dependent on trustworthy IT. The quality and quantity of cyber attacks are increasing in all areas. And just to mention two, SolarWinds and the Microsoft Exchange server attacks have highlighted the importance of trusted IT. The use of reliable IT hardware and software, including firmware, constitutes a crucial basis for countering these risks and threats, and reliable IT is a prerequisite for self-determined action in cyberspace. Supply chain resilience is not a new challenge. However, in view of the huge challenges in recent years, not least due to the COVID pandemic, our ability to withstand challenges in our supply chains were put to test on a new level. The pandemic caused massive changes in our everyday work and lives, mainly because it forced us to work from home, moving a maximum of our workload into virtual space, combined with a tremendous increase in digitalization. This put pressure on the existing IT infrastructure, which made it necessary to react fast and to take higher risk when implementing IT solutions at short notice. Cybersecurity was faced with new, more complex attack vectors, and at the same time, we were forced to partly suspend or at least ease our existing information security rules. IT and telecommunications are critical infrastructure, and therefore they are lucrative targets for cyber attacks with a high potential for damage to organizations and society. Additionally, and different to other critical infrastructure, the supply chain and worldwide dependencies are extremely complex. Good reasons not to trust our IT blindly. Now, how can we gain confidence in our supply chains? Secure and reliable supply chains are essential prerequisite for creating, providing, and maintaining trustworthy IT throughout the life cycle of a product, or in our case, a weapon system, and this life cycle could last to up to several decades. The ability to establish and maintain secure and reliable supply chains constitutes a key capability. And reliable supply chains, including full transparency of the origin and properties of all elements, including the individual electronic components, is an enormous challenge. For our existing legacy systems, retrospective consideration of these aspects appears to me rather unrealistic and especially unaffordable. And for these reasons, measures must be introduced within the life cycle of a product with which risks can be identified, assessed, and mitigated. And the digital twin is just one of the possible answers to this challenge. For new systems entering our inventories, IT security by design must become a given. This is earlier said than done. And this IT security by design must also include the IT supply chains. Due to the global economic and technological dependencies, a purely national effort, we've just recently discussed autonomy, especially with regard to highly complex systems used in defense, will not suffice. Establishing secure, robust, and reliable supply chains, suitable standards, but also transparent certification procedures and structures are required. And they must lead to international agreements, including mutual recognition of corresponding certifications. And mutual recognition means that the one who doesn't or isn't willing to recognize those standards and adhere to those standards must be excluded by future tenders. In order to secure the supply chain over the entire product lifecycle, the inclusion of specific framework conditions for operation and use, as well as common standards and methods between defense and the IT industry are essential. Fields of action can be the operationalization, regulation, and creation of metrics. For this purpose, research and development projects in the national and international area are to be included. The technical information relevant for secure and reliable supply chains should be digitally recorded, exchanged between the parties involved using open standards. And this must cover the complete life cycle of a system. Ladies and gentlemen, trustworthy IT and resilient supply chains constitute huge challenges that we have to tackle in order to exploit the opportunities that digitalization is offering to us. So let's get started. Thank you for your attention, and I very much look forward to the discussion afterwards. Thanks a lot.